there are a ton of leaks and rumors that hint at a Black Flag remake being real. And now there are leaks coming out about what the actual content of that remake will be. So let's talk about what they are. Feel free to put your own comments below. I'd be interested to hear if anyone has heard of any other rumors, or just tell me what you think about some of these leaks and whether you'd be excited or even unhappy with the changes that they seem to be making. So first, the remake apparently removes the modern day and replaces that with more content in Edward's pirate era. So a few extra hours compared to the original. I didn't remember this, but apparently the nickname of the modern day character for Black Flag was Noob, which is kind of funny, but yeah, they're getting rid of that entire modern day thing. I think for me personally, I haven't really paid attention to the modern day stuff since Desmond Miles was the protagonist for that modern day stuff. I Whenever I get to those points in Assassin's Creed games, since probably Assassin's Creed 2 or Brotherhood, I just skip through it as quickly as possible. I just don't care about that modern day stuff. What I really want is the history, all of the things that I would consider the main part of the game. The modern day stuff I feel doesn't add too much anymore, but that's just my opinion. Other people might think differently. So probably the biggest thing that is apparently going to be changing is gameplay in Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake will shift closer to the RPG style of newer Assassin's Creed games. So that means stuff like loot and gear stats for Edward, inventory systems and combat leaning towards the RPG style rather than what they call the more choreographed combat of the original. So that is a very huge change, and it's something that I think that not every Assassin's Creed fan will be happy about. There are some people that really enjoy the way that like the original worked, where most of it was just assassinations and you're kind of trying to avoid combat, whereas games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Origins, and it kind of all started with Origins, had that more RPG style. I prefer the RPG style by quite a bit. I think it adds something to it that's a bit different and something I feel like it needed. A lot of those systems almost make the game feel more like a Witcher style game, and I love The Witcher, so it works out great for me. Now, again, that might not be everyone's thing, but for me, the RPG style is much more interesting to me. It allows you to also have the assassinations, but then have combat that's a bit more filled out and interesting. There will apparently not be any loading screens when moving between the ship and land, which is something that's pretty, I almost took that for granted. I didn't even remember that there were loading screens between the ship and land in Black Flag. So if that's not a thing, let me know, but that's what it said in the list of different things. So no more loading screens. That's great. Just a simple fix. The map isn't bigger, but apparently islands will be filled with more activities and side content. So just more stuff to do, more things that fill up the map. I don't remember the exact ratio of things to do on any given island in Black Flag. It's been a long time for me. It's been probably since close to the release of Black Flag since I played it. So that sounds good to me. I don't really see any downside of just having more content. I guess it depends. Ubisoft is well known for just creating like random collectibles and things that people don't really care about to do. So it just fills up your entire map with icons, which can be a little bit annoying, but hopefully it's not, that kind of stuff and it's something more substantial. I guess we'll see. The remake is also expected to include cut content from the original, like parts of Mary Reed's storyline that were dropped back in 2013. So for those of you who don't know, Mary Reed is this prominent and important character in the game already, so it could be interesting to get more info about her, and that's more of a thing that just fills out one of the characters in the game. Don't really see any downside of that. That sounds pretty cool. It'd be cool if they just put as much cut content into the game as possible. I always think that that's something that some remakes don't do and that they probably should do. Just fill the game out with the cut content, you know? If you couldn't do it back then, you can now, so why not do it? Apparently it's not going to be the same sort of big budget remake, so the same level as something like a Resident Evil 2 or Silent Hill 2, but this is going to be more of a faithful reimagining with updates. This is kind of an Ubisoft thing, and that worries me a little bit. The wording on that, not big budget remake, it makes it sound like they're kind of trying to half-ass it a little bit, which would not be good, especially for a game as big as Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Like, why would you half-ass that? That doesn't make any sense to me. But I guess we'll see what that means, whether it means it feels more like a remaster than a remake. I don't think it really needs too much in terms of touch-ups for graphics and things like that, so maybe it doesn't need the same kind of big budget remake stuff in terms of production. We'll see. That worries me a little bit. It uses Ubisoft's new pipeline engine, apparently, so that is the same engine as Assassin's Creed Shadows. I feel like I've heard the things I've heard of Assassin's Creed Shadows engine weren't great, like it didn't run that well, but I can't really speak to it because I didn't play Assassin's Creed Shadows myself. For whatever reason, I kind of just stopped playing after Valhalla. I think that's only one game though, right? Was Assassin's Creed Shadow the only game after that? I don't remember. Regardless, it's going to use that engine, so if it's good or if it's bad, let me know. The release window is currently targeted for early 2026. Apparently March is what people are thinking, though some sources think it could slip into late 2026. So for me, that means that there's probably going to be an announcement pretty soon. I would imagine at the Game Awards, that's when I would look for some sort of announcement for Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake. There doesn't really feel like any other time to do it that makes sense. So could be March, could be late 2026. Those are the two sort of dates. It just depends on how their development is going. They're also going to be reusing, this is a weird one, they're going to be reusing some assets from Skull and Bones to cut costs that won't be obvious to players. And if you don't remember, Skull and Bones was the quadruple A game that Ubisoft has been terrorized for, that I don't remember if it was very good or not. I feel like, considering how much people meme on the whole quadruple A thing, it can't have been that good, right? But maybe it was okay. So I don't really care too much about reusing assets. I don't know if that's a thing that people will care too much about, especially if it's not obvious. If it's just like, oh, there's a bunch of ship assets that we can use from Skull and Bones that make sense to use for Black Flag, why not? Like, just do it. As long as it fits the style, as long as they're touched up in a way that makes sense. Not really any issue with that. All right, that is all of the leaks that we got. So the leak source was a video game magazine. I think it was a France video game magazine called Jeux Video Magazine, something like that. It's not a source that is just a bad source right away. So this could be leaks that are actually things that exist, but obviously you have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. Leaks can always just be completely wrong. Some of these leaks could be right, some could be wrong. Some things could get changed during development. But the thing that seems to be almost definitely true is that there is an Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake. So at the very least, now you know that it probably exists. Alright, that's really it. I do videos on RPGs of all kinds, so if you're interested in those, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.